Alright folks, Bramble here. So, I've been playing this tech demo for almost a week I guess now it's been released. So it's gotten a lot of feedback and I think there's 3 patches. We're 3 patches in. Uh, so there's enough to talk about for sure. But I wanted to start off on the main screen, mainly because the artwork is really cool. The whole idea of the survival game with tribals and dinosaurs and other critters, which is gonna be really cool. So definitely hats off to the artists in this game because they do a really cool job, not just here but in other locations as well. That they're creating these concept arts for the game as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the only server that's available currently. They're doing a test run to get more people on one server. So see if it'll let us in. There we go. Now I did start growing a dinosaur, Tyrannosaurus, yesterday, so we'll see if it's still here and we'll talk about it. And of course, it's nighttime. Great. So this brings us to the topic I was going to cover a little bit later on in this feedback video, was how they handle night vision in these games. Nature doesn't have an on-off switch, right? So this is what you get with the night vision turned on, and obviously you just saw the night vision turned off. You can't see anything. Nature doesn't do that, right? So we sit in the dark and your eyes adjust, and you do this, you let that your eyes adjust to the dark, and it will, as humans, our eyes suck at night. So compared to wildlife, we can't really see in the dark well, except for during full moons and things like that. But we can absolutely see, the shapes of trees and things against the sky, especially if there's any moon at all. So that's one of my biggest gripes in games like this. How night vision is handled. The view that you get from night vision, it's not too bad. I mean, they've changed it I think 3 times in this test so far. The second time I think it was a little better because you could actually see your body and your feet, where this thing has a bit of a glowy thing around it. And let's see if we can find us something to drink before we starve. I'm up at the beach, I think. Oop, water's that way. Let's go that way. Let's try to boogie a little bit here. But as you can imagine, it's kind of terrifying because you can only see about 20 yards in front of you, at least as the baby Arano. And that does improve as you get in and out of cover. So what you'll see here, once I get into cover, it will dramatically degrade the is there water down here? Let's see. I am playing in the morning my time, which benefits me a little bit. There's not a lot of people on the server at the moment, which is fine. Hopefully I don't have a game crash during this video. But one of the things about night vision that I wanted to talk about is most reptiles have very good night vision. And some of them, obviously the pit vipers and things like that, their heat sensing pits will integrate with their brain, and that aids their vision with heat, which I hope we see at some point in time. Hey, water. Oops, no, I'm not trying to swim. Just trying to get some water to drink. and hopefully we'll be able to see a little better in the dark. Now, yeah, everybody knows that deer and a lot of other herd animals, they do a lot of movement in the dark, which lends to say they do have decent night vision. Kind of makes you think, right? Why is the herbivore got worse night vision? But the predators will have better night vision. That's kind of even modern. But when you think about it, birds are our closest dinosaur relative now. So when you think about owls having the ability to fly through trees and sticks and things in the woods without basically like they're seeing it in daylight, you know, it's makes you wonder, right? All right, that's good enough on that. Let's see if we can find some food. So we don't starve. I hear those, I think that's Dryo I hear. I haven't actually, I've only played the Eokara briefly. It is pretty difficult to survive as a carnivore at the moment. Unless you're really getting into moving around. We should be getting close. Let's see. Oh, there's the mushroom. Mushroom down there. This is where the night vision drives me nuts a little bit. Is okay. If I'm gonna have night vision, I should be at least to see my feet. Is it this bush? Oh, this is the berry bush. Cool. Oops. There we go. Well, it didn't take long to get rid of that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, which is a little hard to do in the dark, but is the AI herding. You know, we should have, you think about it, like the mega herds in Africa where there's 4 or 5 different species traveling together. You know, mixed packing is always one of those big debates in these games. Ooh, you mix pack and, you know, you're helping each other. Well, they do. Whether or not they can actually communicate with each other, they still know, hey, that guy's running, I should probably run too, which is why they, do those things. They travel in giant groups because, well, there's safety in numbers. If we had giant AI megaherds, it'd be much more fun as a predator because then you can stalk them around a map and take what you need and carry on and have fun. And then obviously a bonus if you take out a player in the process, but the players could potentially travel with those herds, which I think would be really cool. Unfortunately, being dark, I can't really comment on the map very well, but in the other video I did, you can, in the redwoods, it is absolutely stunning, the map they've done here. Let's get away from the water here and see if we can find some more food. And it's very diverse, which is really cool. It's something you don't see in some of the other games like this, is, transitions from deserts to, is it not going to let me up there? Probably not. Too steep. Going to get into a place I can't go. Alright, let's go back the other way. And, so you got the deserts, you got the, what was that? The jungle area. The redwood forest, as I've shown already in the video, which is probably my favorite area. Mainly because it's just very scenic. You got the snowy mountains, we have snow, that's a new thing for these games. Oops. Brings me to another point about more of a suggestion to the game is reptiles are ectothermic, right? So why not integrate that into the game somehow where we have to manage our temperature using sunlight and shade. You know, obviously reptiles get cold, they get a bit sluggish. I did a lot of reptile studies. I used to travel for a variety of reasons to photograph reptiles for a couple different groups. So I've been around reptiles a bit, and when they're cold, they're fairly easy to manage. But when they're warmed up, they can get a little spicy, which would be more akin to what we could see in the game. You know, if you poor manage your heat, you know, depending on where you're at, like if it's in the desert, you got to be in the shade a lot more. Jungle, kind of the same thing. You know, it's going to be hot all the time, and then also your hydration speeds. You know, some of the, you know, you think about the Nile crocodile, it may only get one good meal a year. Oh, is the sun coming out? Hey. And that brings me to the other point about the night vision. I shouldn't have had the night vision on that long. You know, it's but I had no real way of knowing that I needed it on because it was toggled. You know, get rid of the toggle and make night vision just happen. If you're in the dark, it's, you know, your night vision works, and then once things start getting light, you can see. And that twilight time at sunset and sunrise is usually the weakest time for most even human vision. It's hard to adjust to the lighting. I think this is where I was yesterday. It's hard to tell. Up in the northern plains, which is really cool. Okay, now that we have light, I can talk about the map a little bit with the biodiversity, which is really cool. This is kind of up in the northern, if I recall, this is up north. Yeah, kind of the northern end of the island. The desert, if I recall, is over there, which I have not been to yet. Although that looks like the redwood forest, so maybe... No. Sorry, my mistake. This is up by the redwood forest. That's over there, which is good for us because I know there's food. But the Snowy Mountains and redwood forest. But back onto the topic of ectothermic, you know, being able to, and hydration. Let's kind of combine that a little bit. Say you're adapted to the desert, you're going to use water much less, and a lot of those critters, especially reptiles, will get a lot of their hydration from the dew in the morning off of their own bodies. So we should see some kind of aid to that for a lower hydration. Some kind of lower hydration drain for desert spawned critters versus jungle spawned critters, for example, which would be really cool. And there's a sleeping, let's go, sleeping tribal, I think. Yeah. Currently in this patch, they when you log out as a tribal, your body stays in the game, which is really funky. I think that's going to change. I really hope it does, because it's really silly looking, and you can't hurt them, so it takes the fun out of that. All right, we gotta find some food soon. The other thing that would be really interesting is, oops, there's a bug in the water there, which we know this is, you know, very early test, and the map testing, is this the water I found yesterday that it didn't let me drink from? Yeah. This might be part of the beach, that's why, salt water. Let's actually, let's go ahead and cross over to the redwoods. I know there's food over there, and there's a good chance that there's going to be, oh, yeah, Shouldn't be running underwater. I think this water is not currently modeled in. So there's a bug. You're gonna run into some of those on occasion. Right now, I mean, it's a tech demo. I get it, guys. It's the reporting on this is very very rapid. So, but trying to get back on track here and talk about the game. Here's the redwoods again, which is stunning. The food, you know, for example, with fruits and things like that, that I guess will come into the game later, should provide some hydration as well as nourishment. You know, there's a lot of critters out there that just eat fruit, and they get all their hydration from eating fruit, which is kind of cool. That would be a really neat way to incentivize playing, say, a certain herbivore that has a special diet. Is that? Can't tell. Jumping in the redwoods, although looks like there's a path over here. I think I've been stuck on this cliff at night where you couldn't tell what was what. Thought that was a piece of meat. Come on, I'm just trying to get up here. Some of the terrain is really neat and very intuitive. I do wish we had a bit of a jump function or climb, because I'm gonna get stuck here. Yeah, I'm a big clumsy herbivore that can't crawl or jump over things. And there's the change in the biomes. You can hear the ambient sound has changed, which is really cool. And keep in mind, I'm also running on a very relatively old computer, so this is turned down a wee bit. Let's see. I have to figure out my way through these rocks. There should be some food around here, though. Unless it's changed. They each patch they've done, they've modified a little bit. Yeah, come on, step up there. No, not gonna be able to make it through there. I've been reading on the Discord that food has been a little harder to find for herbivores over here. But again, keep in mind this is early January tech demo. Talking about, this is a good spot just to sit and talk about the game, I think. You know, we have right now three, including the tribal creatures to play as. And there we go. Which is good for testing. They're very similar in size once fully grown. I guess the Eokara is kind of a mid-size carnivore, which is going to be cool. Personally, I really enjoy the flyers, the pterosaurs, which the Tropognathus is being worked on, as well as the crocodile Purosaurus, something like that, which is going to be gigantic. That's going to make getting drinks very terrifying. I do wish they would have gone a different route and try to size things a little bit more evenly early on, and then start adding the bigger stuff as time goes on and progresses. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, I think I see a path up here. Let's go check that out. But night vision, I hope they adjust to the point to where it's not a toggle. You know, it just happens at night. There we go. Should be able to starve here if I'm not careful. Come on, get over the rock. Okay, get out of there. Really need a jump function. at least as a juvenile, right? That way you can... I'm going to get even more stuck over here, probably. Maybe not. But maybe so. Or you get fall damage, one or two. Making our way through. Trying to get to the floor so I can at least... There we go. Show you some of the scenery here. I have not even been to the desert biome yet, which is crazy. Goes to show how fairly big the map is. I got some food sources here, by the looks of it. The thing that's not very conducive is the way the food is. I mean, the map works fine, the little scent thing, which brings me to another point. That stuff would be, sure, like you could have more of a direct scent if you're scenting, but you're going to be passive scenting as well. If you smell something, you're going to, oh, hey, it's going to trigger that. You shouldn't have to hold it down to see at least the basic stuff, right? Would be really cool. Alright, we got food. We're not going to starve. Gonna have to get water here soon, but I think before the video gets too terribly long, we'll call it quits here. I know it's I tend to ramble along a little bit, but this is the easiest way to talk about the feedback and suggestions that I would make for a game like this to be really enjoyable as, you know, a nature simulator plus a, you know, good fun experience for folks playing. Is get rid of this night vision thing, because yeah, come on, it's not good where it's at, I don't think. And no toggles. Just if it's light out, you get this is what you see. If it's dark, you know, it transitions automatically to the capability of your night vision. And then also with the tribals having torches, you know, if you get too close to a torch, your night vision goes sour for a little bit until you get away from it. So your eyes going to readjust, which would be really cool. But anyway, that's enough for now. I think I will leave you at it there, and thanks for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying the game and testing it out and having a good time with it. And definitely post your feedback and map glitches and issues in the Discord. It helps the team fix the game and make it as good as it can be, which is, we're well on track here. This is going to be a really fun game when it's done, and once they add more critters as they go on, the list of critters that they want to add is pretty enormous. So that'll be a long process for sure, but it's going to be worth it, I think. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this will help in some way, and we'll keep on testing. See you in the next one.